Well, I'll tell you my ratio, but you don't know the story behind the story that I had already paid the price elsewhere.
So I had success in Verizon, but after 4 years, it kind of got repetitive.
If you knew that you would get a sale every 20, 40, 60, 100 appointments, would you have any reservations?
So I joined another IMO. It ended up being a nightmare, right? Even though they were selling the dream.
You were, in the business going, and boom, all of a sudden. Tell us about that.
And what I quickly began to realize was it is not that deep.
How do you post that often when you're not that creative?
You don't have to be a $50,000 producer to change somebody's life. You need to post so much that people are sick of you. Build faster, get mentally stronger very quick, track your numbers, and study the blank space on your calendar.
All right, Mac Agabor here on Haven Real Talk. So the question we were asking is if you knew that you would get a sale every 20, 40, 60, 100 appointments, would you have any reservations? Most people wouldn't. You would just, if you're me, you would just go at it. So when I first got started, I started feeling this sense of fear. And I asked myself, what was I afraid of? And you know what I was afraid of? I was afraid of doing something with no results. I was afraid of wasting my time. That's what I identified that I was afraid of. And so I had to ask myself, well, am I really wasting my time? Is this all a pipe dream? Well, what did I have? What proof did I have in the present that would give me something for the future to be able to hold on to? I looked at the stories of the people before me, the stories of the people that I knew. Were they lying to me? And I said, you know what? If they can, I can. Then I started going through that strategy, going through the process. And here's what we know. If you do it long enough, a ratio will appear. Here's what I'm telling a lot of you. You are a natural human being. And natural humans, they never, ever, ever win if they don't know what the end result looks like. They will not even begin a journey that they don't think they can finish. And as soon as their mind starts doubting that they will finish, they all of a sudden lose momentum, lose focus. They just give up. That's humans. Some of you don't even know like your instruction booklet for yourself. That's how you work. So what I'm telling you is this ain't that deep, y'all. I'm gonna read this to you because I wrote this down. If you knew that it took a certain number of dials to get a certain number of appointments, certain number of leads, let's say it took you 100 appointments or 40 appointments to get one sale. Let's just say help one family. The only question you got to ask yourself is, once you know what that is, are you willing to do that? Are you willing to put the work in? Okay, so you say, okay, 40 appointments. Okay, what does it take for 40 appointments? That's 500 dials. So if you knew 500 people it would take just dialing, how fast would you go to the 500? If you got to 300, you know you wouldn't get there. But if you hit 500, bam, you knew you had one. How fast would you go through? Not interested? Okay, cool. Next, right? If you do that, the question is, are you willing to do the work, right? Second question is, are you able to do the work? Willingness to do it, great. Able to, well, where will you get the money to be able to dial those families leads? Let's say you are willing, but you're not able. You're willing, you literally have the desire, but you don't have the resources. All right. So here's the next question. If you're willing and you're able, then go do it. If you're willing and you're not able, how will you get able to? Second question is, if you're not willing, or rather you have something that's lacking in you, what will you sacrifice in order to become willing to do it? Right? Maybe it's something that's keeping you from what will you sacrifice so that you are able to do it? Right? So willing to is maybe you want to, but time is getting the best of you, or you have these commitments. Able to is okay, leads. You got to get the money for leads. If you're quote unquote not able to, what will you sacrifice in order to get there? You see how it's not that deep, y'all? It's easy. It's simply if you have to find your compass. And some of us, we don't allow ourselves to be bad enough, long enough to get good. if you don't allow yourself to be bad enough long enough to be in the lab and develop your own ratio, then unfortunately you're not willing to pay the price. So many of us, we get in this game, we are looking to get the secret sauce from someone else's ratio. Hey, Mac, how long did it take you? Well, I'll tell you my ratio, but you don't know the story behind the story that I had already paid the price elsewhere. I had already gone to the malls, right, looking for prospects, no leads, having to get 2 a day. I gone through, and I remember going through the parking lots, crying, I'm like, I want to help my family, God, but I'm afraid. Guys, I have gone through all that junk. I get out and I handshake. I've done it all, and I still move forward. So you ask me my ratio. I pay the price already. So my ratio is my ratio. It might be the same. It might be different. The question is, what is your ratio? Once you know your ratio, which the only way you'll find out is if you go through the process and you do it fast. We don't have all day, y'all. You don't have all day. You have a short window. The only thing you can do is time travel, compress time, because some of you need to make it happen now. Some of you, it's a leisure, it's a maybe. Hey, that's okay. But understand this. We are in this game for those who want to win now, like right now. So if you need to win now, maybe doing and going the pace you're going, maybe you'll win in a year, 2 years. But, most folks want to win now. So if you want to win now, in order to do it, you're going to have to get your ratio now so that you can know how long it takes for you to do what you need to do to get there. Because once you know how long it takes, it's game over. Then the question, and now you are aware of what it takes. Now all you got to do is ask yourself, am I willing to do it? Am I able to do it? And if either of those are lacking, what am I willing to sacrifice so that I can either check the box of willingness or check the box of ability? And once you decide that, it's game over. Challenge is, some of you have not decided or even know what your ratio is. So you're hoping going into this game that you're going to sell here, sell there. So that's what we got for today. I'm going to jump myself out of the way, and we're going to get our guest in this. And we appreciate him. Before, I hope you can hear me, Sean. Thank you for getting on, because there's so many times when you see a guy that has succeeded that's on stage. What's cool about that is their success was already written, and people are like, well, who's this guy? And you hear him speak, you see your story, like, wow. You forget the fact that this person was a normal person back in the day. And then you know what's cool? Like, what sells for a lot of money? All those things before they were superstars. Like all those, recordings, right? The memorabilia. Oh, this is Michael Jordan's, sock when he was like 2 years old. Sells for $1,000,000,000. This was his coach when he was in Pee Wee League. That guy's he's famous. Here's a chance to talk to a guy who was in the lab. I'm telling you, remember his name, because the process he's going through is awesome. But you know what's even better? He's actually journaling the process, chronicling it. If you see him on social media, you know who he is. It's very rare, because a lot of people that get to where he is, they've forgotten what it took to get there. And here's a chance for us to be able to glean from him. So, Sean, thank you for being on. Appreciate you, man. How we doing?
I appreciate you. That was a hell of an intro, and I'm just grateful to be on. I appreciate everybody hopping on. I want to respect your time and try to give as much value as possible. But thank you for having me on.
Absolutely, man. So, not many people know Sean Holguin. So tell us a little bit about your background. Well, first things first, where are you from? What led you here? How did you even find life insurance? And maybe if you can go even further back, were you always an entrepreneur? Were you W-2? What created that click for you to even go in that direction?
Yeah, so I'm from Las Cruces, New Mexico, but I now reside in El Paso, Texas. It's on the border state. So 30 minutes north, you have El Paso, 30 minutes south, you get Las Cruces, New Mexico. So I'm kind of in both states, but I've actually only ever had one job, and that was Verizon. I was working at Verizon for 4 years. I loved what I did, and I love talking to people and helping people. So I had success in Verizon, but after 4 years, it kind of got repetitive, and it was the same thing, clocking in, clocking out, dealing with the same clients. It kind of got old, to be honest. So I ended up going into real estate because I wanted to be the next Ryan Serhant, and it's definitely not what it looks like on TV. And it's a lot slower process. So my very first client.
Now, real quick, you have to educate me. I'm probably showing my ignorance. Ryan, is it those two brothers? Or is that the same deal or no?
Those are the property brothers. Those are the property brothers. So I tried to join real estate, and I got my first client, and it was a 3-month process, right? Very slow process. And right when we're about to sign the paperwork to close the deal, it then ended up falling through. So I just wasted 3 months of my time, money, and sweat and tears, and I got nothing to show for it. So I actually posted that story on social media, and I got approached by a gentleman in another IMO, and he was like, "Hey, come do insurance. We have the greatest platform of all time." So I joined another IMO. It ended up being a nightmare, right? Even though they were selling the dream.
And real quick, Sean, were you single this time? Were you have a kid? What was going on in your life?
Yeah, so at this time, we had just found out that we were expecting a child. So not only was I kind of in debt, but I was also scrambling to make it happen for my family, right? And it was very uncertain times. This was at the heart of COVID as well. And I'm like, man, when it rains, it pours, right? Like why me? I had that victim.
Yeah.
So I went to the insurance industry, and it was another 3-letter group, and it was the worst. I got started off at less than 25% compensation. I ended up, compiling a list of 10 people for my upline to sell to, even though they called it my training.
Did you say 25%? I thought slavery was abolished, Sean.
I've never heard that one. That was good. It felt like it.
Man, and you didn't know any better because that's what you thought was available, right? How many people are in that situation right now?
A lot of people, and this is actually why I'm such a good recruiter, which we'll touch on later, because I've been here, right? So I joined, no leads, horrible compensation, and I asked them, how do we sell here? And they told me, well, just get somebody that has 10 people, tell them that that's their training and that's you selling them. And I'm like, man, this is horrible. Like, I cannot be here. So by the grace of God, I got a message on social media, and it was somebody telling me about FFL. Hey, we start our agents at this comp. We have warm leads. It almost felt like a gimmick, right? I had left Verizon. Real estate was a bust. My first insurance company was a bust. So I was this close from going back to a 9 to 5. And I was
what gave
like,
you hope, Sean? Because most people, after going through 3 busts, they would have been like, insurance? No, I already tried that. Like, why even try again?
I had the end in mind. So I knew I wanted to help a lot of people. And I knew insurance was the best vehicle to help a lot of people. Not only personally, but the people that we bring in, right? We're in a people business. So if I can bring people in to help more people, that's more people helped. And that's what I wanted to do. So I'm like, insurance is it. And this is why I didn't leave, because I knew this vehicle would work. I just had to be in the right spot with the right people.
Did they tell you how hard it would be?
No, they didn't. They did not tell me how hard it would be, but it is worth it. So I decided to go for it. I joined FFL, and man, it was a night and day process. They asked me, what do you want to make monthly? What would a monthly goal be for you for this to make sense? And I told them $2,000. If I can make $2,000, I'll feel like the president of El Paso, right? Because I had nothing. I had nothing at all. So I joined FFL, I gave it a shot, and I immediately had quick success. I was averaging 15 to 20 families a month. And it's all because of the system that we have here, the platform that we have.
Now let's back up real quick, Sean. I want to get real deep and gritty. All right. You've got 3 busts. Now, did you buy some leads to get some more leads? So think about it. You've already got 3 busts. Did you buy some leads? And if so, how much? And what did the first week look like? I mean, how many families did you protect? And what was it like? Did you get your teeth kicked in? Give us those details.
Yeah, it was definitely some growing pains from what I was used to, right? And at first, I didn't have money for leads, so I sold to friends and family, and they had recommended that I do that to build budget for leads. And I'm like, hey, I already did this. I'm already the guy at the barbecue that people are running from, because it's like, oh great, Sean's gonna sell us insurance again. And they were like, no, this is not the system here. It's just to build, the capital for the leads. So I ended up doing that. And,
which is okay, right? I mean, so many people said that you shouldn't do. No, that's okay.
Yes, that is okay. And that is not the system. We're not forcing you to do that forever. It's just to build the capital to buy those leads so you can kickstart your business, right? So I ended up doing that. And my first lead purchase was horrifying. It was $1,000 lead purchase. And this is coming from a guy who already had nothing, right? I was already in a deficit and a negative. And I'm like, It was so hard for me to let go of that money, but I trusted the process because I saw it working for other people. So I gave everything that I had, quite literally, to a lead order, and I was doing in-home presentations with families. And what I quickly began to realize was it is not that deep. It is not that deep. We are just following the presentation, the scripts that we have, and at the end of the day, just helping a family out. Most of us get caught up in trying to look the part or sound the part, or they can see right through that. It's like, hey, just be yourself. I just want to serve families. And it ended up working out great because I had an explosive first week. I made $7,000.
How many appointments?
I had about 15 appointments.
Wow. Awesome. And hey, what do we say? You sell half of what you sit on? Come on.
Exactly. So yeah, that was my first week. And after the first week, it's just duplication. Just keep repeating the process. And at the height of COVID, everybody was wanting life insurance, and they still do because of how important it is, right? And for me, the biggest shift was coming from that old company where you're dressed up like the men in black. It's very intimidating. You bring your mentor, you have a booklet probably bigger than this, and you sit across their kitchen table, and they're already like, oh, great, this is way too aggressive. Here, it's like, hey, Mac, my name is Sean. I'm the local licensed underwriter. I'm just going to go over a few options that you have. I'm just following up on your request for life insurance. Very simple, nothing deep. But yeah, found quick success, ended up investing more the second go around, and then it just snowballed from there.
How much more did you invest the second go around, and why?
So I did 1,500 the second go around because I'm like, man, if I can just add more, I'll sell more.
Love it.
Right? But it was a huge mental shift for me because, one, I wasn't used to investing in myself. I had nothing. And I was always used to the 9-to-5 mindset, right? Yeah. So giving money to build a business was kind of new for me. And I urge all my people and everyone else that listens to invest in themselves, and you will never be in a negative by doing more inside of your business. A lot of people tend to think like, well, I don't want to create this piece of content because of this. It's like, you didn't have that anyways. Or I don't want to invest this because I barely got paid. You didn't have that anyways before you got paid. Right. So I always urge people to invest in themselves, double down, and you will never be in a negative by doing more inside of your business.
I love it. The time differences it takes to be able to recoup from an investment is different. Different trees, different plants. Some plants, they shoot up immediately within a week. So, I heard the story of this pastor. He gave his students this seed, and he told them to come back every week and report. And, when they came back, he said, hey, how's your plant doing? One already shot up. And they were kind of judging themselves, wondering if they were doing bad about being a gardener. And what they found out, they had different plants. They didn't know that, right? So going back to what you're saying, it takes effort, right? But you do need to invest in yourself. Some of it, it's immediate. Some of it takes a little bit of time. But if you simply compress time, you can make the difference. Kind of fast forward a little bit. So you had some immediate success. Was it just like this the whole time? Did you have, ups, and then did you have some deep downs? What kind of learning curves did you have to go through to go to the next level?
Yeah, so I was young, right? And everything I made, I was careless with my money. I was spending a lot of money. I had more money than I knew what to do with. And I wasn't preparing for some chargebacks. I had a few dry spells as well. I had probably like a 2-month dry spell, and that was rough. And I was not prepared for that. It was a learning process for sure. So now what I do is every commission that I get, I put 20% to the side, just in a little fund for chargebacks. I put 10% away for taxes, and then a little bit more money away for lead spend. So that's what I do now. Ever since I went through those dry spells, and it was hard to get out of that. But yeah, now I'm a little bit more careful with the commission, and yeah, there's definitely, everyone's going to go through it. Everyone's going to hit that slump, and I just urge you to keep following the system because the system works. We don't need to reinvent the wheel because the people before us have already laid it out for us. So it's going to happen to everybody. It happens to the best of us. I'm pretty sure, Mac, have you experienced that as well?
100%.
And what did you do to get out of it?
First, I always say, if you educate your expectations, you won't get hurt. And so, what Sean Mike says, it's 30, 30, 30. 30% of what you write will fall off. That's just the way it is. If you don't prepare for that, you're in trouble.
Exactly. And I was not prepared.
Yeah.
I was definitely not prepared.
You know, one thing going on that, here's what I know. And I hope you'll touch on this later on, but you can outsell your chargebacks as long as you outdo something. You know, I wrote it down. You can outsell chargebacks. You can out recruit the agents that fall off. You have to outdo something. And all I'm meaning to say is whatever is going to happen in the business, it takes an above average work ethic to outdo something. So you have to run faster than whatever it is. And if you run fast enough, the momentum will guide you to safety is what I've discovered. So as far as what I did, I just always was told if you book 15 for the next couple of days, you'll be fine. And as long as if you're full-time in this business and you're not doing 30, helping 30 families, which is about, $1,000 per family, 30 grand a month, then you're broke. So as long as you get the 30 grand a month, you are good. And I knew I was a runner. So I knew if I could just hit that landmark, I'm safe, right? So yes. That was my strategy. So tell me this, Sean, where did you transition to? So you started selling. Did you immediately just say, you know what, I'm a high paid salesperson? Like, how long did it take you to feel comfortable before you started, building a business? And what would you advise people doing it today?
I would advise you, don't do what I did, because I didn't start building until after year 1. And that was my biggest regret and my biggest mistake. So I wanted to do it for a whole year. And as crazy as it sounds, all the money that I was making, it wasn't fulfilling. And I kind of shifted towards, I want to help a lot of people, not only because we're still kind of in the midst of COVID and coming out of it, but what about the people that were in my situation? There's a lot of people that need to be saved. And we have the perfect platform to do so, not just insurance agents, everybody. So I kind of had that mindset shift, and I'm like, I want to help others, because that's originally what I got into the business for. And then I became selfish. So my best advice to everybody on here is start building as fast as possible. It's okay if you don't know everything. That's why you got to leverage Mac, leverage your uplines, leverage your mentors, learn together. The biggest problem that people have in building is waiting way too long. They want to know everything before bringing others in. And to be honest with you, this industry is always changing. We're not going to always know everything. So you might as well start building your team now. So I built my team after year 1, and just helping other people win is the most satisfying feeling. And seeing them win and get paid is more rewarding for me than me selling my own policies. So I kind of had that mindset shift after year 1. And for me, building was the way to afford more opportunity and not feel chargebacks. So by building a team, if I told Mac, hey, Mac, I have an opportunity that will take you to $600,000 a month, it's 10 grand. If Mac has an agency and he's taking a certain percent split, it's going to be easier for him to afford that rather than him being on his own pen. And it's like, you know what, Sean, I have my bills. It's just me selling. I have my lead spend. I have my office. I have everything. It's a little bit harder to do it solo. And then another thing, you get your chargebacks. Let's get you 2 scenarios. Let's do me personally selling on my own. I'm going to have to, let's say, for example, I get 3 families that charge back. I'm going to have to sell 3 policies to just make up for that plus more. Versus Mac, who has a big agency, he gets a 3-family chargeback. He probably won't even feel it. So for the people that are solo in this business, I always tell people you're 1 chargeback away from being out of the business. And how do we prevent that? By building an agency.
It's facts. This is how you shield yourself, by building. There's so many benefits to it. How did you go about recruiting? Now, that's what's really, people want to recruit, but they don't know what to do. They feel kind of weird. It's like dating, how do you talk to that girl you like? How did you start?
So I started recruiting. And at first, I was kind of not really wanting to recruit because I had a bad taste in my mouth from the other IMO. So I started recruiting with social media. And just like Bruce told us this morning, recruit how you were recruited. I was recruited through social media. So now I recruit through social media, and I tell people at the very beginning, now I kind of market different, but at the very beginning, I was showing people what it did for me and my family. Look at how the life insurance industry has changed my family's life. We went from a very big negative to now we got a new home. It allowed us to get a vehicle. It's allowing us to tithe more in our church. It's allowing us to do all these different things because we're helping families. And we're in one of the only industries, if not the only industry, that the client wins more. If you sell a home, you're putting them in debt. You sell a car, putting them in debt. You sell a life insurance policy, you're actually helping generations of their family. So I'm like, man, everybody needs this. It's almost selfish for us not to bring people into this opportunity. And if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't mean it's not going to work for the person that you bring in.
Right.
And it was just not being selfish and wanting to help other people financially. And I'm not saying everyone needs to be another Mac, 40, 50 grand a month. Success may look different to them. Success could only be 2 grand a month for them, like it was for me when I started.
Right.
So I'm like, man, I'm passionate about this because we have the system for them to do so as long as they apply it and work. It wasn't one of these things where it's like, hey, let me recruit you and I want to tap root into 10 people of your family. It's nothing like that. What we do is simple. We help families. You know, on average, one family helped is about $1,000 in commission, roughly. So Mac, if your goal is $3,000 extra on the side of what you're currently doing, I can show you how to help 3 families, and I'll be there right with you to do so.
Right.
You know, so I started getting loud on social media.
When you say loud, I'm talking 4, 5, 6, 7 posts a day. Or
people were sick of me. I saw Grant Cardone changed my life 2 years ago. He said, you need to post so much that people are sick of you. But anytime life insurance comes around, you're thinking of Mac.
That's right.
Anytime life insurance gets mentioned, you're thinking of Sean, because of how often we're posting. And the more you post, you're social proofing yourself and building credibility on social media. It makes you look more credible.
Here's devil's advocate, Sean. What if you're not that creative? What do I post? How do you post that often when you're not that creative?
That's a good question. So what I tell people all the time is Google the questions in your industry. So for us, Google the most asked questions in the life insurance industry and answer them via video form. For everyone watching this call, you have the best mentor to do so. Mac is always dropping videos with the captions, and that's what you want to do. But if you're like, I don't know where to start, how do I begin? What do I do? We all use social media, whether we like it or not. We all use it, whether it's politics, posting fun stuff, whatever the case may be. But I would urge you guys to start shifting it towards business. Social media is a billboard for your brand. If I look at Mac's Facebook, what am I going to see? What does this guy do? If you look at my Facebook, you're going to know exactly what I do. So you need to ask yourself, if somebody were to see my Facebook, what are they going to see? Or if somebody sees my Instagram, what are they going to see? Am I a life insurance professional? Or who knows what you are, right? So what I would urge everybody to do is Google the questions that are asked most about life insurance and either answer them in video. If you're not comfortable getting on video, then just type it out and put it on Facebook. There's a lot of people, surprisingly, who don't know what life insurance is.
It's true.
So get on.
And it's the compound effect is what we're talking about. I mean, it isn't so much that you have to have something that's mind-boggling. It's the fact that you're consistent. People want to do business with companies and people they know will be there tomorrow. And if you only post once every, who knows, they can't. If they can't even trust you to be around for a week, even if you're not with them, how can they trust you to be around when they're gone? Right?
Exactly. And this is a problem in my community. So you'll see people that do solar, water panels, water systems, life insurance. They're doing taxes. They're doing 100 different things. And it's like, I'm not going to go to that guy.
Right.
But if you're consistently always posting about life insurance, you're going to look credible and it's social proof. So for everybody on this call, even if you don't know how to make content, document what you're doing. I was so lucky to help a 73-year-old woman today get coverage on a permanent life insurance policy that has living benefits. Simple. I think we overthink social media.
Hey,
and that's what.
And let me ask you this, Sean: is it taboo or is it not cool to rob and duplicate things that you post? I mean, is that not cool?
No, I have. You don't know how many people copy and paste my content, and I love it. I don't mind because
it ain't like stealing, right? It's different. It's like just sharing.
Yeah.
And
So If you don't know what to create, copy all of my stuff. But yeah, I would urge everybody to document your journey. Don't create content, document what's happening. It's kind of crazy because if you look at my Instagram, you can literally see the progression through photos of my life. And that's, you know, documenting your journey instead of creating that. But yeah, post you helping families. If you have a team like you, Matt, hey, my agent so-and-so helped 3 families today. I'm so proud of them. Or if you're a solo agent, I helped a lady out, I helped a woman out, get coverage. That was a great, you know, you can get creative with it. Very simple. And other people are seeing that. Not only for the sales aspect, but like, okay, this guy's actively helping families. Let me ask him what an opportunity looks like there. You know, so
you know what's interesting is it doesn't have to be about you, because the truth is you transition first. They're curious about you because everyone loves reality TV. So if you document and chronicle your journey,
yeah,
I've seen so many hits on YouTube. If you Google, like, I don't know, plants growing, you would be shocked. The most boring thing, you'd be shocked how many comments. Fact that you're chronicling it, that does a lot for people. But after a while, let's say they get kind of sick of you, you can go ahead and start talking about other people. Hey, this person did this. That's the power, whether or not they're on your team or not. Sean, let me transition for a second and speak a little bit more introspective, because I'm sure you've been through it. And I think it takes us as agents to look at ourselves. Remember in medical school, or at least the versions we've seen on TV, where the professor says, you know, 90% of you will not be here in 1 week, right? And these are folks that I'm talking medical school, right? They were smartest kids in high school. They're gone, right? And you're left, you look around, you're left with 20 people out of 100. Let's talk about that. Is it so much that those other 80 couldn't cut it, or they weren't willing to make the adjustments to cut it? And I wanted to talk about that in this industry, because here's the truth. We know a lot of people, they flunk out. And if we're looking at ourselves as agents, and everyone on this call and everyone listening to this, which percentage are you? Are you going to be a statistic, or are you going to be the exception to the rule? How do we assess ourselves to know whether we're going to be one of the ones that flunk out, or whether we need to make an adjustment?
So it's all mental. From the 2 years that I've been here, I've seen so many people fall off, and they were more than capable. They had what it took. Some were way better than me, but they weren't strong mentally. And, you know, we talk about it on our calls with Bruce. Guys, this business will take you out if you're not mentally strong. And we're all more than capable, trust me. It's just about applying the action.
Wait. You're saying it's not about being good at the sales aspect and being able to overcome objections? Like, it ain't about the how-tos?
Definitely not. I've seen people way better than me fall off. And I just outlast the temporary, right? Whatever you're going through in life, it's all temporary, guys. It will pass. And if you outlast the temporary, you'll meet the greater version of yourself. So you gotta have that mental fortitude built up, because if you're mentally strong in this business, you're gonna go further than 80% of people.
It's true.
And that's just the truth. And people are always looking for the secret sauce, like, well, no, he does this, or no, Mac does 40 families because he does this. Guys, everything that Mac is doing and that he's telling you to do, if you just applied it and actually did it, it would work for you as well. There's no secret sauce. I was always the guy at the conventions, the motivational speakers, and you know, they're always saying, I'm not different than so and so. And I'm like, yes, you are. You're different. You have the sauce. But in reality, they just did the work.
I love it.
So if we do the work and we have that mental toughness, guys, you're going to outlast 90% of people in this industry.
Someone's throwing this question out. Speaking of mental toughness, how do you build that? What's your daily schedule look like? And what days do you work? Same work as you did when you were new? How did that change?
I do Monday through Saturday. I take Sundays off, I go to church, spend time with the family. But Monday through Saturday, I wake up at 6, and from 6 to 7, just kind of meditate and pray. You know, I'm really big on not looking at my phone when I wake up, which is hard to do, right? But from 6 to 7, wake up, meditate, pray. 7 to 8, for me, I'm sending out recruiting blasts for the building side of my team. And then from 8 to noon, I'm taking phone calls, live transfers, and also having my dialer dial out. And from noon to 1, I'll take a lunch. From 1 to 3, I'm attacking social media. I'm following up with emails, and I have what's called an agent touch list. I have a Google sheet of all my agents, and I'm talking to them every day. Hey, Mac, how's it going? What's up? What are we doing today? What's the activity look like? Hey, Laura, how's this, etc. Right? So I have an agent touch list. So I go through all of my team, because if I'm not consistent with them, people end up falling off. And then from 4 to 8 or 9 p.m., just depending on time zone, I'm doing live transfers. So I'm taking live transfers, and I'm also having my dialer also as well do from 4 to 8 or 9 p.m., just depending on the day. But yeah, that's typically
the leads. Like. Using data lot, all web, smart.
Yes. Yeah, the leads, we're using data lot and all web leads. Okay. So those are live transfers. Those are people who are already on the phone waiting for a quote. For those of you that don't know. And I'm also doing badassinsuranceleads.com.
Just like it sounds.
Correct. Badassinsuranceleads.com. And those are age leads. I love the age leads because I feed them to my dialer to keep her busy. And that's just a supplement on what we're doing.
Got it.
And then another good one is Age Lead Store. You can get a lot of leads for a very cheap price. So while my dialer is busy with age leads from people who aren't getting calls like a newer lead would, I'm doing the live transfers and it's filling up my calendar.
Is your dialer live transferring those leads she calls to you, or is she booking appointments?
She does live transfers, but if I'm on the phone with the lead already, then I'll tell her, hey, book an appointment. I'm on the phone with the lead.
Got it.
And then she'll book either the day after or 30 minutes out. Anything after a day, for me personally, everyone's different. Anything after a day, the lead's done.
Right. There's the show ratio sucks.
Yeah. It's horrible.
100%.
Yep.
That's good. That's good. So tell us about that. Someone's asking a question. I think that's what Melissa, it says, what was the one he said first? Oh, Age Lead Store. Yeah, ageleadstore.com. That's a different kind of leads. Did you always do it this way? I mean, when did you transition in-home telesales? Do you still do hybrid? How do you roll?
Yeah, so I transitioned when I started building a team. And the reason I transitioned is I'm in the heart of El Paso, Texas. And the majority of leads here speak Spanish. And I don't speak Spanish. I wish I did. So now I kind of just outsource and dial in different states. If it was up to me, I would do in-homes all the time. I think they're so much easier to close in-home. You can see the client's reaction. You can feel the energy. You know, you're right there with them. Rather than a telesale, because a telesale takes a little bit more skill and more leads. So you're going to have to put up more shots with telesales to kind of, you know, equal it out with what you would do in an in-home. So now I do telesales. I have people on social media that want to meet in person just because they want to see I'm a real person. But other than that, I'm in the office locked in doing dials.
Copy that.
Yeah, I rarely go to homes because of the language barrier, unfortunately. I got to move. But yeah, mostly telesales. And I kind of made up for the loss of in-homes by the live transfers.
Got it. You notice what I like about what you're saying is lead flow, not lead type per se. He had to figure out, if you're taking notes, consider Sean's resourcefulness. That is a skill that I would say is like gold in this business. Be very wary of asking the how-tos, even though the how-tos are important. But what I want you to glean from what Sean is saying is how he thinks, because he's telling you what it is now. But what if, see, I want to give you this example. Be very wary when you're saying, oh, Sean, this is the secret sauce. Oh, it's Age Lead Store. What if Age Lead Store died tomorrow? What if that site was down? What if Badass Insurance Leads was down? I guarantee you Sean would figure it out. So you know what would help you figure it out is how Sean thinks. You know what I mean? So he just told you. He compensated. You see how that is, right? So if you can help us out with that, Sean, talks about lead flow versus lead type. How many leads did you generate, or did you realize that you had to run to generate a number amount of income? How many live transfers did you discover you had to take in order to generate a certain amount of income?
Yeah, so right now the numbers, I'm closing 1 out of 3 live transfers. And a badass insurance lead order, $200, I'll close about 2 to 4 of them. So those are the numbers that are pretty consistent with what I'm doing. So every 3 live transfers, I'll close 1. And every badass insurance lead order, which is $200, it'll get you 200 age leads. I'm closing about 2 to 4 of them and then just reinvesting.
And what kind of work are we talking it takes? So, I mean, someone hears that, oh, wow, Sean has the perfect life transfer company. Ooh. Yeah, let's be real here. How much are you paying for life transfers each?
Yeah, so I just want to preface it with, I was that guy that, oh, what's the lead type? You have a best lead. I was that guy. And I always heard people saying, it's not the lead type, it's the lead volume. And I'm like, stop, don't lie to me, right? Guys, I learned as well, it is not the lead type. I'm probably making more with age leads than some people doing instants. So I urge everyone to just get that out of your head. It's not the lead type, it's the volume. But I kind of shifted with.
So make sure I understand. You realize early that it's not the lead, it's you. So you see what was interesting with Sean is he figured out his ratio. How long did it take you to figure out that out of every 200, I closed 2 to 4? Like, because it took a little belief in yourself, faith. How long did you have to let it, generate and mature in the lab before you were able to be confident in that?
About 2 months. So the reason it was so quick was because I was tracking all my numbers. If you're not tracking your numbers, you need to start now. Get a Google Doc, a Google Sheet. It doesn't have to be fancy, but track your dials versus deals sold, and you can start predicting income. So if Mac told me, hey, how much will it take you to get 30 live transfers? I already know, multiply that number by 3 because I'm closing 1 out of 3. But guys, you guys have to be intentional. We're very intentional here with our business, and we need to treat it like such. A lot of people just, oh, I sell insurance on the side. Me, it's like, hey, I have this down to a science. I know my numbers. Knowing your numbers is very key, because at that point, if you know your numbers, like if I ask Mac, hey, what does $2,000 lead spend get you? I'm pretty sure you can tell me right off the head.
100%.
And that's because the numbers are being tracked. A lot of us are just blindly spending and hoping for a miracle, and we don't know our numbers. So once you know your numbers, everything that gets measured can be improved. So I would urge everybody to start tracking numbers. And it is, a lot of people like to think of it as, oh, it's one more task. Guys, it's only going to help your business.
It's the task. It isn't one more. It's the task. Without that, you got nothing. Like,
guys, it's going to help.
Let me ask you this. You got a car that's perfect, but it has no speedometer. Or you got a ship that looks great, but it has no, what do you call it, a helm? Like, without, or better yet, for a car, it has no steering wheel. Without knowing how and having some way to gauge it, you got nothing. What are you going to hope that the cars just don't veer or that you have a straight road? Like, really?
Yeah. If your car has no gas tank, little dangle, you're not going to know. You're not going to know. You're just going off a whim. And which is what a lot of people in this industry are doing. They're going off a whim.
Yeah. So
we need to get serious about our business and start treating it like one. The problem I see a lot of agents have is they're very casual. People are very casual about their business. And it's like, hey, we all took a life insurance exam and passed a test for a reason. We didn't do that to not make money. Like, we're here because we knew we can make money and help families. But you have to be very careful. You have to be very careful.
Hobbies are casual. Sean, let me ask you this. What if you suck? What if you're tracking your numbers, but you just suck? How do you proceed?
Respond to scarcity by scaling. So do more inside your business, like you were touching on. Do more until you get those results that you can start predicting. The best defense is more offense. So a lot of people are always like, well, it just didn't work out for me. I didn't close any. I didn't close. I didn't make the money that I wanted to. It's like, do more, and you will close. That's literally the best defense is more offense. And that's such a cliche answer, but we have to do more inside of our business. Like I said, you'll never be in a negative by doing more inside of your business. And most of us do the bare minimum and expect to have max numbers.
No, I love it, man. Hey, throw your question down in the chat. I'm gonna just do a small talk with Sean to make sure that we're good here. So Sean, you started building. I told people before we got on that you just epitomized what they call a quantum leap. You were, in the business going, and boom, all of a sudden. Tell us about that. I mean, you just got your logo. I mean, you just crushed it. So tell us about that. When you were just I don't want to say coasting, because you were coasting at a good level. What kept you from going to the next level? And then how did you hit that next level? And tell us what that is, so that some people have no idea what you've accomplished.
Yeah. So what kept me from that was myself. And what I mean by that is it was so hard for me to break through. But I realized I was in my own head so much. Then I combated that with moving and getting active. So I was spending all my days in the house, just dialing. I didn't see any sunlight. And I was like, you know what? I need to start shaking more hands. I need to start telling more people about this business. I need to start getting out there and doing more than just social media. So got an office, started telling everybody about the business, went through all of my contacts. I DM'd everybody about the opportunity. It can change your life like it did mine. I started talking to more people and doing more within the business. And it led to a breakthrough in not only personal production, but team production. So like Max said, we just, hit VP. And that was because I got uncomfortable, started telling more people about this business. Guys, for whatever reason, a lot of people are scared to recruit. I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know if it's because you guys think you don't know enough about the business or whatever the case may be. But once you realize the power of leverage, let's say, for example, you have a new agent, right? You bring a new agent in. I just started 3 weeks ago, but it's okay because we have Mac hosting these trainings. I'm going to bring my new agent on these trainings that Mac is hosting. It's going to make me look credible because he knows what he's talking about, and we'll learn this business together. So that's pretty much what changed my business. Is I got very serious about recruiting and bringing other people in, which I urge everybody to do the same.
Just so everyone knows, vice president, the position is when your agency is eclipsed 150,000 in premium in a month. I'll be honest, and some of you don't know the industry. There's some IMOs, they don't really do that. They count submitted numbers and not submitted numbers. We're talking issue paid numbers. We have agencies here like Sean's that do more in a few months than an entire company does in a year. So this is a big deal of what he's done. But someone's asking this question. Just give us a rundown as far as what message would you send a potential recruit that's in your phone contacts to initiate, some kind of, I don't know, stir the pot a little bit.
Yeah. So what I do is I send my virtual business card to them, and I'll say, hey, Mac, I recently just got started with the life insurance industry. And this is for you guys. If it's for me, I have a different script. But for those that are just starting to recruit, as you know, I just got started in the life insurance industry, and it's completely changed my life. Do you keep your career options open? I would love to tell you more about the opportunity. I leave it very vague, because majority of the time people will say yes rather than no, because a lot of people are hurting right now. So now is the best time to start recruiting and building that business. And another thing I'll tell them is, hey, Mac, my agency just issued out so amount of dollars. I would love to show you what that opportunity looks like for you and your family, or what it can do for you and your family. Do you have 5 minutes? Very simple. And for the people with no agencies, talk about your own success. Hey, Mac, let me show you how I helped 3 families and how you can do the same, and we can win together by the system that we have here in place. Very simple system, to be honest, and how it can change your family's life as well. There's a lot of different ways you can go about it, but I typically like the, let me show you how it changed my life and how it can change yours. Because everybody, like I said, you don't have to be a $50,000 producer to change somebody's life. $1,000, $2,000 will go a long ways for a lot of people, especially now.
Makes all the difference. And there are numbers associated as well, ratios, that word again, when you know how many people it takes reaching out to get X recruits, you've again solved that's a key, because everyone is different and you get better and better and better.
Let me touch on this really quick, Max. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, you're good.
I have a guy studying right now who already recruited 3 people. And I'll tell you how he did that. So he sent a message out to those 3 people. Hey, I just got started in the life insurance industry. Our agency, so if you're brand new, talk about the agency, is helping this many families a month. On average, that's about $1,000 in commission. Would you be interested in learning how you can help families? Because if you say a big number, and what Max agency is doing, what your guys' agency is doing, it's a large number.
100%.
You're not part of the business yet, but hey, my agency's doing this. Let me show you how it can change your life as well. And now I'm doing this. So there's always, it doesn't have to always be about you. Leverage other people. Leverage is so important. Leverage Mac. Leverage your agency. Leverage other people. Hey, one of my coworkers just helped 5 families this week. Do you think you can do the same? Let me show you what that would look like for your family. And I think, people just, they don't leverage others. And that's how I exploded so quick, is by leveraging everybody else.
I'm gonna do some rapid fire questions as we kind of come to a close. Someone's asking, how long did it take and what did you do to get numb to the shenanigans when people, during dial days, that clients give you?
You have to be non-emotional. And I learned that very quickly. I took everything personal that people were saying to me, and I wanted to jump through the phone and, start fighting with them. But at the end of the day, they're people just like us. I'm pretty sure we've done it at some point. And the faster you realize that and you're non-emotional, the better you'll be. Just like Mac was touching on right before I joined. If I told you, hey, Mac, you need to do 300 dials, 290 of them are going to cuss at you. They're going to tell you mean things. They're going to hang up on you. They're going to do all these crazy things. But those 10 people that say yes will get you X amount of dollars. Would you do it? Of course you would. You would run through those no's like there's no tomorrow. You'd be happy about getting the no's. Every no is getting you closer to that yes. So it's just a mindset shift. And it's all mental. So that's, for me, what shifted big time. Because my mentor, Rob, told me the same thing. He's like, you're getting way, way too offended. And I'm like, dude, I'm getting emotional. I want to call him back just to give him a nasty message. But they're people just like us, right? Good. So if you can get through those 290 to get those 10 yeses, you're going to be fine.
Good. Biggest month, personal production?
25, 26, you want to round up?
Good.
Yeah.
And of course, team. Biggest for team?
151, which is what we just broke.
Love it. And
in the next 30 to 60 days, God willing, we'll be at 300.
Doubling it. Just doing the same thing you did. Your if you had one, your preferred lead type?
That's a hard question. My preferred lead type, data lot live transfer.
And how much you paying each?
$90 a call.
Copy that. Now your ratio is much better than mine. I mean, mine is I close 2 out of 6. You closed.
We were speaking about that. Yeah.
You said you closed 2 out of 3.
1 out of 3.
Okay, so that's about the same. That's about the same. So yeah,
it's
tomato tomato. So yeah, there it is. And now
I'm about $90 a call.
Yeah, and again, as expensive as that is, it works out because you still are able to filter enough of the idiots and the field folks that aren't looking enough to find the ones that do need a stick.
At a much quicker ratio, yes. Now, I wouldn't recommend that for everybody because it can get very expensive. It can get very expensive, but if you can't afford it, you're buying your time back, which is what I'm trying to do.
That's all it is. You just need to front the money to be able to, at least as long as the money you're making, you're investing it in something that gives you more back, you're good. But if you make money and you don't invest that money to get you a bigger return than what you spend on the LTs, plus because the chargebacks are coming still, then you're in trouble.
Yep. So my cost per acquisition is about $270, make about 1,000. I'll take that trade-off all day.
All day. I love it. That's good. Sean, if you were brand new, or rather, what would you say to the old Sean? I mean, you're what, 2 years in the game? 1 year in the game?
Almost 2 years. Yeah, 2 years in the game.
What points would you tell the new Sean? You were Rob talking to Sean. What would you say, brand new agent today?
Build faster. Get mentally stronger very quick. Track your numbers. And study the blank space on your calendar. Studying the blank space on your calendar. Once you get structure and you have your calendar down pat, your life will change. Your life will change.
That's
what I'm actually going to start implementing with my team is every Friday I want to do a calendar review. Let me see if I can see your calendar. I can predict your success or lack thereof if there is nothing on your calendar.
Talked about that today, and before you came on, it's good. Guys, this is Sean. Listen, tag him on Sean Holguin. What's your Instagram handle?
It's just Sean Holguin, my name, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff.
I tell you straight, if you don't know what to post, just monitor what he does and just copy it. Start the process, but you're going to see someone that's going to be on stage. Not only a Hall of Fame agency is what we're looking at, because it's all about the time. So that said, guys, thank you so much, Sean, for getting on, pouring into us. Until next week, take care, take charge. Bye for now, y'all.
Thanks, guys. Thank you for your time. Appreciate every one of you. Take care.